חפצו, חפה עלינו החוצים. תן לו ריבון!
Scenes of utter devastation in Rafah. A night engulfed in flames. Netanyahu calls it a tragic mishap. Israel shifts blame, clean chits IDF. With over 100 lives lost in airstrikes, shelling and gunfire, was it a tragic accident or a deliberate strike? Did Israel's Rafah camp strike violate red line? Global outrage and calls for peace. Can the cycle of violence be broken? The Rafah refugee camp in Gaza was transformed into a scene of horror and devastation following an Israeli airstrike on May 26th. Tents, once shelters of hope, erupted into flames, and the haunting cries of burned victims pierced the darkness, painting a harrowing picture of the aftermath. The Gaza Health Ministry confirmed the grim toll. At least 45 Palestinians lost their lives in the tragedy, eliciting a chorus of condemnation from around the world. Footage captured from the scene depicted chaos and desperation, with sirens blaring through the night. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in Parliament that something unfortunately went tragically wrong with the airstrike.
Unfortunately, a tragic mishap happened last night. We are investigating the case. We will present the conclusions because this is our policy.
However, Netanyahu reaffirmed Israel's commitment to its goals, declaring unequivocally that the IDF would move into Rafah with or without a deal to dismantle Hamas. But amidst the rubble and devastation, questions loom large. Was this a tragic miscalculation or a cold, calculated act of aggression? Did the IDF's actions adhere to international laws designed to protect civilians in conflict zones? How did the use of munitions supposedly aimed to minimizing harm lead to such devastating consequences? What was the US's response, and does it signal approval or denial of the actions taken?
Our munition alone could not have ignited a fire of this size. I want to repeat it. Our munition alone could not have ignited a fire of this size.
Israeli Defense Forces revealed that while the overnight bombing was aimed at neutralizing 2 Hamas commanders, the catastrophic fire that ensued was not directly caused by the missile strike itself. Instead, it was ignited by a secondary explosion near the target area, leading to significant civilian casualties. IDF, emphasizing efforts to minimize civilian harm, disclosed the use of small munitions with 70-kilogram warheads, the smallest available for Israeli jets. Daniel Hagari, the IDF's chief spokesman, stressed that the ammunition used in the strike could not have ignited a fire of the magnitude that was observed. Further evidence, according to the IDF, came from phone conversations between Gazans, raising the possibility that weapons stored in a nearby compound caught fire. Listen in.
بعدين نقعدهم ذخيرة لما صوت السلاح بدأ يتفجر وشمت المسار بعثنا برفيق هذا ما نحكي واحد قتلنا مستودع سلاح بارد ولا طلع يعني الاخوان اللي خلطوها اليهود مش قويه يعني صاروخ صغير لانه مش فاحل شورى كبيره وعرضه يطلع توابع لتفجيرات كثير.
However, questions persisted regarding the precise sequence of events. The international community responded with shock and condemnation to the tragedy. Now, as far as United States is concerned, then John Kirby, National Security Council spokesman, indicated that there is no current evidence of a major ground operation by Israeli forces in central Rafah. But the situation is being monitored closely. Here is what he had to say.
Everything we're seeing, and we can't see everything, but everything that we can see tells us that they are not moving in a major ground operation in population centers in the center of Rafah. But as I also said in my opening statement, we're going to watch this hour by hour, day by day, and we will stay in touch with our Israeli defense counterparts about what they're doing.
He further emphasized the US's condemnation of civilian deaths and acknowledged the recent incident as a tragic mistake, which Israel is currently investigating. Kirby noted that there are no immediate policy changes, but the US will closely follow the results of Israel's investigation. Here, it is important to note that recent deaths in Rafah have put Joe Biden's promise to withhold weapons from Israel to the test. Now let's end by looking at the sequence of events reflecting a severe escalation in violence in Rafah. Israeli tanks took control of the Rafah border crossing following extensive airstrikes by the Israeli Air Force on over 150 Hamas sites. An Israeli flag was seen flying on the Gaza side of the crossing. Israeli airstrikes, gunfire and shelling resulted in over 45 Palestinian casualties. At least 26 more Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire in Rafah, marking the second attack within 24 hours since May 26. Israeli shelling caused the deaths of over 35 additional Palestinians. On May 30th, Israeli strike led to a devastating fire at Ramallah and Al-Biray's main vegetable market, destroying dozens of Palestinian-owned shops. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. Now, the question is, what next for ravaged Rafah? The international community watches closely as the situation continues to evolve, demanding accountability and the protection of innocent lives.